Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 16th February 2021. So let us see which are the important articles in today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper for men's purpose and for prelims purpose. We have segregated them. Let us take overview first of these articles and then we will go into details of these articles. For men's purpose, on page number 13, there is explainer from international relations perspective, from clashes between troops on the LAC to disengagement. So basically it is giving the overview of all the sequential developments that happened that led to escalation between the two countries along LAC, India and China, the armies of two countries, and then how various flashpoints emerged along the LAC in Ladakh region, and then how in recent times the de-escalation and disengagement is going on. So in sequential manner all the developments are given in the one article. So those who have missed on all those let's say issues or the follow up on those issues, which were these points from let's say mapping perspective, we will also look into the map, and then we will also look into the recent developments where the agreement was reached between two countries to de-escalate and disengage. Then the second article on page number 6, here the tolerance deficit. So recently the climate activist from Bangalore, Disha Ravi, was arrested by Delhi police, and here the article is discussing the high handedness that has been shown by the police or the law enforcement agencies, again somehow leads to loss of image, damage of image at international level. And here also the what do you mean by that toolkit in the Twitter or the toolkit conspiracy that the Miss Disha Ravi has been arrested here in this particular case. So what do you mean by that toolkit? What is the use of and why it is used here? So from general awareness perspective also we need to know about that. Okay. Now from specifically prelims perspective on page number 10, leatherback nesting sites could be overrun by Andaman's development project. So one of the specific study related to environment and ecology, especially the nesting sites for giant leatherback turtles, and how the new proposed Andaman and Nicobar development, economic development projects in that region, they affect these nesting sites. So here this is discussed here. So we will talk from prelims perspective, what is the IUCN status of leatherback turtles, what is the conservation and protection status under Wildlife Protection Act. This we will look into here. Nigeria's Okonjo Iweala appointed WTO head, World Trade Organization. So here from international relations perspective, from prelims point here, all international organizations are important. So basic information about WTO and its background. So that we will look into here from prelims perspective. Bangladesh authorities send more Rohingyas to island. So here the context, which island it is talking about, the Bhashanchar island at the mouth of a particular river in the Bangladesh, the new island, depositional island Bhashanchar, which emerged in 2006. So here the context is relocation and resettlement of Rohingyas who have been, let's say, taking refuge in Bangladesh, right? So Rohingyas from Myanmar. So here we will discuss about the location of that Bhashanchar island and who are these Rohingyas. So basic information from that. Now let us go into details of all these articles. So first, from men's perspective, this article explainer on page number 13, world page, from clashes between troops on the LAC to disengagement. So basically it is giving the sequence of developments that happened along the LAC. Okay, so what is important for us that we have to understand, since April 2020, how various flashpoints emerged and how some of the skirmishes had led to a loss of life of soldiers on both sides, the Galwan Valley conflict, or we can say the conflict at Nakula in Sikkim, conflict at Pongyang So Lake, north bank and south bank of that Pongyang So. right? So in this manner we have to identify these flash points first. So let us try to understand that from map first, then we will understand description or sequence of events, right? So let us first identify the lines here. So LAC is this red line, okay, this is the red line, LAC, line of actual control. Now this dotted yellow line which is shown here, this is Chinese claim line, and international boundary recognized by India is this one. Okay, now this is the Aksai Chin region which is completely claimed by China. Okay, so these flash points are located along the LAC. You can see here from north to south we will look into them. This is the point Depsang Plains, just downside the Daulat Beg Oldie road or that Karakoram Pass which is located there. Okay, now this Depsang Plains, then below that there is Galwan Valley where the conflict occurred and a death of 20 Indian soldiers occurred in that region in first week of May. Then this is below that there is Hot Spring region. So in May there was conflict in Hot Spring region. Then there is north bank of Ponggang So and south bank of Ponggang So. So first week of May and end of August, this is how the sequence of these conflicts emerged along various flashpoints. First, northernmost, there can be prelims question, arrange the following locations along the LAC from north to south. So how to remember that? So Depsang Plains first, then Galwan Valley, then Hot Springs, then Ponggang So Lake. Okay, north bank and south bank of Ponggang So Lake. Okay, so how to remember this? DGHP, Depsang Plains, then Galwan Valley, Hot Springs and Ponggang So Lake. Okay, and even before we will say this, Daulat Beg Oldie is there located above this Depsang Plain. So we can add that as DDGHP in this manner from north to south. Okay, so this was, now you understand this in space manner. So identifying location is very important so as to understand the sequence of events now. Okay, so what happened here, starting from April 2020, Chinese troops were amassed along the LAC at various points that led to the standoffs and skirmishes at Galwan Valley, Ponggang So Lake and Gogra Hot Springs region. Okay, so Depsang Plains also. So these skirmishes, there was sequence of events. For example, at Ponggang So Lake, you can see here Ponggang So Lake, PLA troops moved up to finger 4 from finger 8, and then major clash occurred on the night of 5th May, which resulted into injuries over 70 Indian soldiers. Okay, so from finger 4 to finger 8, to finger 4 from finger 8. So we can understand that there was advancement of these troops and Indian troops were denied patrolling path up to finger 8. So earlier the Indian troops were able to patrol up to finger 8 area. Okay, however that was denied and these troops moved up to finger 4, that is near to Indian side, right? So that's why there were skirmishes and clash happened in May. Then on the night of 9th May there was clash reported from Nakula in North Sikkim. So this was also one of the flashpoint during this standoff. So Sikkim, which is let's say having boundary with all three these countries, on we can say that western side there is Nepal, on eastern side there is Bhutan and northern side China. Okay, so this Nakula is located, suppose this is the Sikkim region, then Nakula is located here. This is China, Nepal and Bhutan. Okay, suppose this is Sikkim, then Nakula is located here. So such skirmishes happened in May in Nakula also, and after that India replied with mobilization of troops along the LAC, line of actual control. Now the further developments that happened, that several friction points emerged in the eastern Ladakh region after that April and May region. So for example, even at the end of, let's say, August timing, fresh tensions occurred in the end of August on the south bank of Pongangso Lake. Okay. However, here the Indian troops took the advantageous position by immediately mobilizing its army here, preempted Chinese moves and occupied several dominating peaks in Kailash range on Indian side of LAC, which gave tactical advantage to India. So yes, India understood the Chinese movement, Chinese army movement in that region, and then took advantageous position. Now there were many such attempts to disengage and de-escalate the tensions along the LAC and reduce the kind of tensions that happened between India and China. Many such diplomatic efforts were undertaken, and on the sidelines of SCO summit, external ministers of both countries, they met there, discussed and agreed to 5-point resolution agreement. 5-point resolution agreement that was agreed in September 2020, and in that both countries agreed for disengagement in a phased manner. Okay, in a phased manner. However, even after that, we can understand there was no impetus for further disengagement. So recently, in February 2021, agreement for disengagement was announced by both countries on north and south bank of Pongangso to cease their forward deployments in phased and coordinate and verified manner. So according to this new agreement now, it was agreed by China to move back up to finger point 8, and earlier we can understand that Indian troops were able to patrol up to that point. Now Indian side also agreed to move back to finger 3 region. Okay, and it was also agreed that there will not, whatever the temporary structures that have been built after this April standoff, they are to be demolished by both countries in that region. At the same time, until and unless the final agreement is reached, there will not be any kind of patrolling in that region. So these are the highlights of the recent agreement, especially in this Pongangso region. So we can understand there will not be direct question like this, explain the developments of escalation and de-escalation along LAC between India and China. However, after understanding these sequential developments and location of all these points, you can also draw that map here and show that flash points in your answer in mains examination. Right, so that's why it is very much important that you know all these developments, how they led to various skirmishes in different regions, at the same time which efforts were undertaken, especially the September month 2020 and the February month, the recent one, 2021. Fine, so for de-escalation and disengagement. Fine, so yes, these are the developments up till now. And for India-China international relations perspective, these are very important points. In mains 2021, we can expect such kind of question for overall developments. So many students may be, let's say, starting preparing this examination from, let's say, November, October month. So they may be missing all these developments that happened earlier. So at one point in this one article, you will get all these developments, right? So GS2 paper, IR, international relations. Next article from mains perspective on editorial page number 6, tolerance deficit. So the article is having the context of recent arrest of 22-year-old Bengaluru-based climate activist, Miss Disha Ravi. Okay, and the alleged involvement in, we will say that, the toolkit conspiracy case related to the climate activists and how they shared this toolkit regarding the kind of protest they are supposed to do and what to do in those protests. So this toolkit is nothing but a document. This toolkit is nothing but a document. We will say that the digital document which is provided or shared by various activists throughout the world or within the country also. And in this toolkit it is mentioned that in which manner is to be protested, on which day, at which time is to be protested, protest is to be carried out. So all these things are mentioned in that toolkit. So this particular toolkit which was shared by many climate activists around the world, including the 16-year-old Greta Thunberg. Okay, and it was found that that particular toolkit had some of the seditious provisions, and it was the Delhi let's say police has immediately filed the FIR, and it was let's say considered that that toolkit had originated, or we can say formulated, by pro-Khalistani groups located outside India. And there is some kind of collaboration between this the girl, we can say that Disha Ravi, and pro-Khalistani groups, and Disha Ravi helped to tinker with, or let's say modify, this toolkit. Originally it did not have the kind of, we can say that pro-Khalistani or seditious kind of provisions there. However, this was edited by one particular person. Such are the allegations here against the Disha Ravi and one other person also. Right. So yes, the investigation is still going on, but the kind of let's say arrest and the procedure that are let's say followed here for such kind of sedition charges is criticized severely by many such, even the opposition political party or the experts, or we can say that even the climate activists also. Okay, so yes, what we have to understand here, that it appears that main charge against her is that she edited Google document shared among activists, including global climate change icon Greta Thunberg. So actually she immediately withdrawn that tweet, Greta Thunberg, and shared new tweet. Okay, so she got to know that this is not the actual toolkit she was going to share. The toolkit the prosecution allege was prepared by pro-Khalistani outfit, and based on this it was concluded that Miss Ravi was working with separatists to create disaffection against India. So this is the allegation against Miss Ravi here, and the investigation is still going on. However, the manner in which she was arrested, the manner in which Delhi police team travelled to Bangalore and took Disha Ravi into custody, apparently without following the guidelines laid down by Delhi High Court on interstate arrests, marked the new low in display of perversity and high-handedness in law enforcement. So this is the example you can mention about whenever we talk about the high-handedness shown by law enforcement agency. There are some guidelines issued by Delhi High Court in terms of, let's say, interstate arrest. It is also mentioned that here that Delhi police had not intimated the local police in Bangalore and directly arrested and brought here Miss Disha Ravi. So that is also criticized here. The procedure is not followed. Okay. Now, as you have now understood that what do you mean by this toolkit, the kind of allegations that has been done against Disha Ravi, let us see the developments, how the investigation further proceeds. However, the kind of high-handedness that is shown over activists by the government or the law enforcement agency, this is somehow going to dent the image of the country in international arena, we will say that. So the article is saying that it is not the protest which are, let's say, tarnishing the image of the country, rather such kind of clampdown on activists, that is surely denting the image of India as the one of the largest democracy in the country. Okay, so that's why the very good statement here, the regime is more likely to attract international embarrassment and opprobrium by indiscriminate use of police power against activists, protesters and the media. So in recent times we have seen the kind of, let's say, actions being taken on activists, protesters and media also, journalists, right? So that's why there will be somehow dent of image. So government truly worried about its global image would instead seek to address the deficit in tolerance. This is very important. The government should be very much tolerant, should not take such hasty decisions. Surely yes, the investigation could have proceeded and all the things could have been there according to the normal procedure that has to be followed here. Okay, yes. So one of the example of the high-handedness which has been shown by the law enforcement agencies in recent times, you need to know that recently such high-handedness has increased on activists, protesters and the media. 3 agencies which are very much important aspects of, or the pillars of, we can say, democratic setup. Fine. Okay, so GS2 paper as well as essay paper you can take input here. Now from specifically prelims related articles, leatherback nesting sites could be overrun by Andaman's development project. So this is the article. So all the small articles which could be shown on the screen very easily and properly. So we have decided to include them and the highlighted part also, because sometimes the students are not able to imagine what kind of article actually appeared, right? So here you can see the photo here, leatherback nesting at West Bay, Little Andaman. So what are these leatherback turtles? So leatherback turtles are the largest among the 7 species of sea turtles, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands are one of the major nesting sites of these giant leatherback turtles. Okay. So 2 important things, one is the IUCN status, vulnerable, and the protection that is given under Wildlife Protection Act, that they are given the highest protection as they are included in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, listed in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, according it highest legal protection. Okay, so these 2 important aspects. Now what is being said that there are different projects recently announced by the government, central government in Andaman Nicobar, especially related to development of infrastructure for tourism, promoting tourism in that region. So for that purpose, many such let's say projects will reduce the area, or we can say nesting sites that will be damaged here, and therefore somehow it will impact the leatherback turtle population. Okay, so this is the concern raised by environmentalists. However, on the other side, the government recently released National Maritime Turtle Action Plan on 1st February 2021. National Maritime Turtle Action Plan, and this action plan has mention of all important nesting sites of turtle in India. Right, so one of the important is olive ridley turtles. Okay, so olive ridley turtles, this is the additional information you can note down. Olive ridley turtles they have the nesting sites, the annual nesting phenomenon that happens in Odisha coast, where we can say that there is Gahir Matha Wildlife Sanctuary. This is the important nesting site near the mouths of Mahanadi Delta in the Odisha region. Right, so olive ridley turtles, a similar kind, this National Maritime Turtle Action Plan also mentions of this nesting sites of leatherback turtle in Andaman and Nicobar, let's say, islands. It mentions that South Bay and West Bay of Little Andaman and Galathea on Great Nicobar, along with other nesting beaches in the islands, find a specific mention here as important maritime turtle habitats in India. Important marine turtle habitats in India and the largest leatherback nesting grounds in India. Right. So accordingly, we can say that it has been mentioned that the protection is given as these areas are declared as areas of coastal regulation zone 1. So they are given protection under CRZ regulations. CRZ regulations are issued under Environment Protection Act 1986. Sorry. CRZ regulation, coastal regulation zone, which somehow protects the coastal ecology from economic development, construction activity and mining activities in the coastal areas. So yes, coastal regulation zone 1, they are included in this. And yes, important sea turtle nesting habitats are declared as important coastal and marine biodiversity areas under this plan. So what is important from this article? The basic information about leatherback turtles and the nesting sites in India. They are in Andaman and Nicobar Island. Okay, so this is important, not Lakshadweep Island, Andaman and Nicobar Island. And the second aspect is the IUCN status is vulnerable and they are given the protection under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, so this is the information about that species. And in general, recently National Marine Turtle Action Plan is released by the government, which makes or has the provisions for all the turtles nesting sites to be declared as marine turtle habitats in India. And these particular areas in Andaman Islands and Nicobar Islands, Galathea, let's say this Galathea National Park is also there in Great Nicobar, and this is also the Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve is also there, right? So Galathea River is there, and Galathea mouth of this Galathea River, that region is important nesting sites for leatherback turtle, and they are included in this important marine turtle habitats of India under this National Marine Turtle Action Plan. Okay, yes. Now next important developments, Nigeria's Okonjo-Iweala appointed WTO head. So this is important from prelims perspective developments. Nigeria's citizen Goji Okonjo-Iweala, she is appointed as the first female and first African head of WTO, World Trade Organization. First female and first African head. Okay, so the basic information about World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization was established in 1995. It replaced the earlier GATT, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, which was established in 1947. It has origin similar to Bretton Woods institutions of IMF and World Bank. Okay, so after, let's say, Uruguay rounds, which concluded with Marrakesh Treaty or Marrakesh Agreement, we'll say that this agreement led for establishment of a World Trade Organization, WTO, in 1995. Okay, so this headquarter of WTO, or we can say that the ministerial conference, it is located in Geneva, Switzerland. Ministerial conference, which is the highest decision making body, which involves the heads of the governments. It meets at least every 2 years. Okay, so one meeting at least every 2 years that happens, the ministerial conference, and it is not UN specialized agency, though there is mechanism of cooperation between United Nations and World Trade Organization. But WTO is not specialized agency of United Nations. We have to understand this. Earlier we talked about IMF, which is a specialized agency, WHO, which is again we can say specialized agency of UN. However, this WTO is a completely different organization, and this is the only organization which, let's say, have or overviews, regulate, we can say, international trade. Okay, it has the 164 members at present. India is the founding member of WTO. We need to know about this. India is the founding member of WTO. This is the basic information sufficient for our examination. Now, Bangladesh authorities send more Rohingyas to island. So, which island it is talking about? It is talking about Bhashanchar island. So, let us first have a look at this island location on the map. Okay, so this is the Bangladesh country. Here you can see it is having the border with Myanmar. You can see here. This is the border with Myanmar. Now, what happened is in Myanmar there was political, let's say, persecution of the Rohingyas, the Muslim minorities in the Buddhist majority country Myanmar, we can say that. And there was the religious political persecution of Rohingyas in the Rakhine Valley region. So, this is the Rakhine Valley region. Okay. And after persecution, let's say thousands of these Rohingyas, they fled Myanmar and entered on the shores of Bangladesh, and even we can say that India also. So, most of these people, refugees, are located in this Cox's Bazar, and as the pressure is mounting further on the resources, and the especially land is becoming more and more scarce resource in that region to, let's say, resettle, or we can say manage the refugee problem in Cox's Bazar. Many of these refugees are now being resettled on this particular island here, Bhashanchar island. Now, this island is specifically formed in 2006. This is the depositional, we can say, island, and this depositional island is formed through Himalayan silt that is brought by these Himalayan rivers, and this is formed at the mouth of river Meghna, right. So, many such depositional islands are present here. You can see here the Sundarbans region, and many such depositional islands are there. This is the new island which is formed in 2006, and Bangladesh government has decided that 1 lakh such refugees are to be resettled on this island. So, now many human rights activists around the world are criticizing this move, as they are made vulnerable for, we can say, sea level rise or the cyclone impact from Bay of Bengal. So, their life is at stake. However, the Bangladesh government is saying that they are having less amount of space or land availability here to accommodate them. Who are these Rohingyas? Yes, Rohingyas are ethnic group largely comprising Muslims found in Rakhine state of Myanmar. Right. So, Myanmar nationality law 1982 denied citizenship to Rohingyas, and since 2017, in the face of Myanmar's military crackdown on Rohingyas, almost 7,40,000 Rohingyas fled Myanmar and entered Bangladesh. Many of them have also entered India. There is process of repatriation of these refugees is going on. India is not signatory to United Nations Convention on Refugees. Okay, excuse me. And there is the phase-wise repatriation of these Rohingyas is going on. However, the Bangladesh is facing the brunt of all the excuse me, ethnic minority, these refugees that have fled their home countries here. Okay, so what is important for our examination? The location, geography mapping part. So, sometimes they are asking such locations throughout the world in recent times, or they are in news for particular purpose, right. So, here the Bhashanchar island is specifically in news because of resettlement of Rohingyas is to be done by Bangladesh government. Fine. Okay, so on the basis of this information, you can attempt this such kind of framing of UPSC questions is UPSC is doing in recent times. At least one such question is always there. Particular place, particular thing is in news, and it is related to which of the following. Okay, so yes, place Bhashanchar Island. So you can attempt this question and give answer to the comment box of this video. Okay, so yes, these are the articles from today's The Hindu newspaper which are directly related to our prelims as well as mains examination. So try to take input accordingly, make small notes also from whatever the discussion we had. अगर ये आपको वीडियो पसंद आता है तो इसको लाइक कीजिए, कमेंट कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ में, एज वेल एज डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू सब्सक्राइब टू आवर चैनल. For further information on editorial discussion classes or ED classes wherein in-depth analysis of mains related issues that we have discussed here, they are analyzed in depth and a perspective building is done by Ansari sir and the other faculty. For further information of that course, you can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.